we'll talk about the changing workplace today. What have you noticed lately, Landis, based on your experience? How it used to be, how it is today, and what's the most noticeable thing for you?
I think there's three things that I've noticed that I want to just chat about today to get you thinking about it and to have noodling, I guess. Number one is that we have to look after the well-being of the HR professional in the workplace.
Yeah.
Because we are expected to be a resource for the people in the organization. And if HR isn't looking after themselves, they cannot be objective. They can't be the inspiration, nor can they sometimes deliver all of the many tasks that need to be delivered when they're not functioning at a high level. And what I mean by functioning is physical well-being, emotional well-being. Are they growing in their role?
Yeah.
Or have they been doing it for a long time and it's getting tired? Also, are they actively engaged in the HR profession? Because there's lots of trends that are happening, and if you aren't working with companies to be aware of what those trends are, you're not integrating those into your workplace.
Totally.
And as we know, the business really should be integrated with the people. And therefore, you've got to be aware where your people are coming from, what curves could be thrown at businesses around the corner, and then how to work with those together. So that's one.
Yeah.
Secondly, I find people don't want to work as hard. When I started in my HR career, it was expected that you would work for, many hours. They could demand things of you, and those types have changed. And I'm glad to see that. However, I don't know if we've brought the senior leaders into how to make that shift, and also how to encourage the HR professionals to have confidence and a voice that they can talk to the leaders about bringing the whole organization along this way, because it is a change that people just don't want to work all those hours.
Oh my God, as you talk, I have so many follow-up questions, but I'm trying to hold on to the third thing that you wanted to share. Okay. I hope I register everything that I wanted to ask, because questions keep popping up in my head, but keep going. Yeah.
And third, we've got to be focused on making data-driven decisions. And I really want HR leaders, HR organizations, HR consulting firms to really get thinking about what are those people analytics that we can integrate into the daily practice. And then we can assist and we can provide sound recommendations to leadership based on data.
These are so awesome. I love all three, and let's try to break them down a little bit, because I have follow-up questions for each and every one of those. So let's start from the very beginning. You said the very first thing is that how important it is that HR people would look after themselves, after their mental health, because they are the ones who actually are the core of the company's well-being. And unfortunately, in some situations and some organizations, HR people come across as those like compliance people. They have to make sure that everybody is by the rules, or, and this is why it's easy not to see the human side of the profession if you are the outsider. But it's like this oxygen mask almost, right? If you want to have an HR person who is capable of taking care of your organization, you want to make sure that HR person knows how to take care of themselves first, and then to actually be there for the company. I cannot agree more with you that that's a very common kind of common topic that I also hear from HR professionals. They are burnt out, but they're the ones who need to look after burnt out employees. So how do you do it? What would you say is the there is no easy solution for that. But what would you say that HR people should actually be their first priority to make sure they take care of themselves?
To make sure that their passion is aligned with the organization they're working for is number one.
Mm-hmm.
If your heart doesn't match what's going on in the organization, then why stay? There is so much work to do in an organization. That be somewhere where you align with the purpose of the business and have a good understanding of what that is. Don't just read it on the website or don't read it on the mission statement that's on the wall. Really, prior to even joining an organization, really do your homework. Talk to people in the organization. Do your own research about what that organization's reputation is.
Yeah.
I think also to get energized about your brand.
Your personal brand.
Personal brand. Each HR professional should have a brand. And that's how they live their day-to-day life. It's how they communicate with others. It's how they develop relationships among the other professionals within the company. And continue to learn. Interesting, I was at a conference last week, and they were mentioning that we've been committed to a common phrase for many, many years, and it's called lifelong learning. The stat they used shocked me because they said the majority of lifelong learners are between the ages of 18 and 29. After that, it drops off.
Oh, wow.
And I just think HR professionals, so important for you. It doesn't have to be related to HR. It's just the process of learning. Because you grow. And that helps. So I think those are some things that I would start with. And then to really be aligned with the top 3 or 4 priorities that an organization has. Don't try to do 10 projects. Take it down to 3. Be successful, and then move on.
Everything that you just mentioned, I think about it, and then whoever is watching this conversation can benefit from, because this is such a wonderful advice for any profession, not just for HR professionals. Because if you think about it, anybody who wants to enjoy working in the organization where they're working, they'd rather know the company, they'd rather do their homework, they'd rather align their personal values with the values of this organization. They'd rather know the reputation of the company. And you know what? Some people might say, I want this very highly driven company. Yes, they have some issues, but I like it. It adds a little bit edge, and then I like to figure out how to fix it. Other person would say, well, I want something that is much more established, kind of calm, and neither good or bad, but as long as you're aligned, as you said.
That's right.
Same with lifelong learning, right? Any individual, as long as they keep learning, keep developing, keep progressing, this is something that would benefit them greatly. I often hear when people say, well, but it's just the job. It's not the most important thing in your life. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Yes, but you want it or not, you spend so many hours at work. You want it or not. So you'd rather do something that you truly enjoy, that really aligns with you.
Well, it gives you pleasure. And I think another thing is to be able to look back and see what influence you had on making the organization better. And it could be just a process change. It could be culture change. It could be bringing in more digital tools into the organization. Who knows what it is? It's just that you feel good at the end of a year when you look back and reflect about, we started here last year, and this is where we are, and I'm happy about that.
And you just mentioned a magic word, reflect. I think this is where a lot of people fail. And at some point they might feel like this imposter, or that they haven't done anything significant. But the moment you start reflecting back and you see actually, oh, I have actually accomplished this, this, and that, it gives you this foundation of, no, I have done some things. Which brings into another topic of how important performance evaluation is at work. It gives you this opportunity to reflect and look back and see the difference that you're making.
I encourage people to set aside 15 minutes every week.
Yeah.
And to put it in their calendars and shut the door if they're in an office, or if they're not, to go someplace else so that they're not going to be interrupted. And just to reflect back on what they've done over the last week.
That's such a cool activity
Short.
to do, Yeah.
And you don't write anything down. It's more thinking, because it opens up your mind to what did we do? What could I have done better? What did I do well? What's the learning from me? And then you can continue to evolve yourself. But that's a practice that I've had for many, many years, too many to count.
Yeah.
And I think it's worked for me. So if it works for anyone else, fantastic.
Oh my God, I'm going to adopt this practice for sure, because this is something so simple and so doable. It's not another app, nothing against any apps for, reflection of personal development. But literally, if you have this mindset and you put it as a task in your calendar or in your head, 15 minutes on Friday, Sunday, Saturday, whatever day you pick, just 15 minutes, sit, reflect. What have you done well? What have you learned? What could you do differently? 3 quick questions and would make a huge difference.
And I don't just do it regarding work. I do it regarding my life. So it's beautiful. It's a short little practice that I think is important for us to. We don't, in our busyness of the day, we don't take enough time to think.
Yeah.
And if you don't practice that, you're going to lose it. And I would really, I hope that every HR professional, every leader in the organization, wherever you are, that you give yourself some time to think about what has happened in the last few days, in the last week, as you move forward.
That's beautiful. I've heard this phrase once, and it literally became like my brain tattoo, that learning happens in reflection. And even if you learn something new, you go through some new experiences, good or bad, by simply reflecting and thinking of what just happened or what you've just heard, you would get those insights, you would get those lessons. But if you're just kind of pushing through, everything gets busy and just week after week after week, and we don't really know or appreciate or stop to think or rethink what we've been doing. And it does affect our mental health, right? Big time.
Big time. I also think that every person needs to reflect on what are they putting in their bodies for food.
Yeah.
And are they, getting enough fluids? Are they doing something active? It doesn't have to be running a marathon.
Yeah.
Just what are you doing to keep yourself moving? And in the worlds that we live in now, I think it's important for us to not get sucked into everything you hear in the media.
Oh, I don't even want to start.
Yes. I think we need to, but I'm not a person that's going to say don't ever listen to anything, because I think that's not right. You're hiding. So I think you need to balance and question, where is this information coming from? And check that out, and then decide, what you're going to, what's close to your heart, so that you can live it. But and if it calls you to action, then do something about it. But I think we need to. I think what we're supposed to be learning right now is that we need to evolve in a different way.
I think that as much as the physical diet and exercise are important, same idea with our attention diet. I think Mark Manson came up with this kind of name, or he even has an article on attention diet. But even media diet, social media diet, it's not that you're not consuming any of it, but you're being very smart about what you are consuming and what does it do to your body, to your mental health, right?
I think it's the question or the word you said that I like is being smart, and not just accepting everything that you hear or read or see, but that you do some investigation yourself, and then you can make a decision and go from there. And that might mean that the people that you are socializing with, you don't socialize as much with, because maybe it's them that are causing that, and so that's why you need to pull back or have the fierce conversation with them that
are you still aligning on the
exactly
values?
Are we still aligning? And maybe it's time to take a pause. And go from there. It'll hurt at the time, but I really think it'll be better for you. And these are all things, traits, tips that I think as professionals we need to practice.
All of those tips that you've just mentioned, it could enrich both. It could enrich your personal life and your professional life, you know? So we talked about the mental health of HR people and employees all over. And then the second thing that you mentioned at the beginning is that you've noticed that people, they do not want to work as hard as they used to. So can you share a little bit more about that? What have you noticed?
Yeah, absolutely. Tenure is a concept that has really decreased in time. People have told me that to stay at an organization for 4 years is what they've got in the back of their mind. And when I started in my career, it was much longer than that. So length of time is one. And secondly, people are talking about not working for just one organization anymore. They would really like to work for maybe two, more on a part-time basis, and then they're able to do other projects that they want to do, engage in recreational activities, whatever it is. But that they don't necessarily want to be 8 to 5 and then go back to work at the end of the evening at home, just for one organization.
That's very interesting. And, you know, I think we do hear a lot about this idea of fractional work, because as you said, people want to work for multiple companies, and then how else you can do it if not this fractional type of work, right? I've also seen an article lately about those changes that are happening in terms of how a lot of entry-level jobs, specifically in HR, are going and disappearing, not necessarily disappearing completely, but there is less and less. And one of the reasons that people were talking about is this idea of AI that is replacing a lot of relatively entry-level tasks, you know, within the HR jobs or any type of administrative work.
Right.
So do you think this plays a factor as well?
I do. However, I'm going to be a bit disruptive, and I'm going to say AI is not to blame for the jobs going away. I don't think we have kept up with the type of skill set that we need to have. What's more important, though, is the relationship piece, particularly that HR folks have with their employees and their senior leadership. So I don't think that the jobs have gone away. They are different. And I don't think right now we've got the skill set to deal with those new tasks or new jobs. So I think in a way, that's why fractional work is more popular with younger folks, because they want to learn and they want to develop new skills. And maybe by working with one organization, you can't do that. So it's just fractional work is I think a great opportunity. It works well for HR, so it's important for us to talk about it now, and I think it's going to continue to evolve.
And you know, you touched on a couple of really important things that I wanted to kind of dive a little deeper into, because when we talk about this idea of fractional work, I believe we can see it as an opportunity from both perspectives. As an HR who is working within this new changing workforce, workplace, and also as HR people who actually need to bring people on board.
You're right.
Right? Taking into consideration the fact that things are changing, And yes, people are much more open to do this fractional type of work. But also as an organization, if let's say I'm an HR or an owner of the company or this, I don't know, builder who starts the startup, how do I bring people on board that yes, some of them will be doing fractional work, but I also want to have this committed, kind of core of people that I'm going to be developing into the future leaders. Because as you wisely have mentioned, that there is this danger in the future if we get rid of those entry-level positions now for AI or no AI purposes, whatever it is. But then in the future, when all the current leadership will retire, where are we going to bring the leadership in? How are we going to build the new leaders? And it takes time to build them up, right?
Yeah, the succession of people is really important.
Yeah.
And as organizations, we don't do that. We don't focus on it a lot. And so we need to really start to address that. And I think that organizations don't necessarily need a specific role for the duration of the organization. I think it evolves. And that's where I think fractional work can really help to organizations move forward. Is to come in for a short period of time in a particular role and bring your strength and bring your skill set, and then see what's next for the organization. Should they be converting someone to a full-time position? Will that position be needed in that organization? Or should they look at now going out and getting other fractional employees in some way or another?
And I bet that, I don't know the numbers, I haven't looked into it, but there are definitely some people who would enjoy and thrive in this new world of fractional work. And there are some people who would still prefer to have something much more stable, ongoing. There is nothing wrong if somebody stays with a company for 50 years and they retire, and nothing wrong if somebody has been with a company for 2, 3, 5 years and then they say, okay, I need a new challenge, I want something else. But it's really interesting to notice how right now everything is shifting and how we are able to adapt both as people who actually work, as the workforce, and regardless if you are an employee or you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, it affects all of us, right? It affects every aspect of work. And also how we adapt from the inside of the organization, like from the HR and leadership perspective, that we do need to recognize that it is changing. So how do we make it such that it's going to play to our advantage, incorporating the fractional work, but also making sure that we are raising this new generation of the future leaders in the workplaces. And go ahead.
I was just going to say, in the smaller or medium-sized organizations, they're ideal for fractional workers. To bring them in, to train the full-time folks that are there in a new skill, a new way of thinking, maybe bringing in a new service or a product line, and then leaving when that's finished. Because then they've trained the people that are in the organization.
So it's win-win.
So I think a small to a medium organization really is open, I think, to the fractional work. Compared to really large organizations. They are there as well, I've found, in the larger organizations, but much more in the small, in the medium-sized, and then in the not-for-profit sector as well. But I'm a proponent of fractional work. And then it's a different change in the culture. And that's the piece that the HR professionals have got to focus on. How are we integrating these fractional workers into the organization, not just leaving them on the outside of the organization, just taking their talent because they feel it. And that's not being inclusive. So if we have a DEI policy, we better be making all types of employees feel welcome. Fractional work can also be bringing the new talent from the post-secondary institutions into the workplace. You don't necessarily have to pay them. You are paying them with mentoring and with supervising them.
You mean fresh graduates, people who just graduated. Students who graduated.
But it could be by a co-op or a work integrated learning opportunity. It's bringing that energy, and it could be naivety into the company. I think is always good because clients are always changing.
And I cannot agree more with you because, both you and I, we see so many talented people in the classroom, and you can just see how they can thrive in the workplaces given the opportunity to do something like that. But again, it goes back to this point. Does organization take into consideration that they need to know how to welcome this new type of work, how to welcome this new type of employees, and how to work around the fractional work? I couldn't agree more on that point.
I think also onboarding the fractional worker as to
totally.
what does it look like, what are the expectations,
and it's often getting overlooked, right? The onboarding piece with the fractional work.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a trend. I think it's an exciting one. We're just, I think, getting into it now. And the inclusive piece, I think it really still needs to be developed, because we're not there. We haven't made all our fractional employees feel welcome.
That's a wonderful point. You also mentioned something really important when we talked about AI, that AI is not to blame for all of those people issues, And I've been thinking lately about this idea of empathy, how very often we talk about the fact that there are all these articles that AI can do anything humans can, so on and so forth. But then I find there is a little bit of this paradox that we always talk about the idea of, but we are the ones who can feel. Humans are the ones who are empathetic. We have this emotional intelligence that AI cannot replace. But the paradox is that AI actually has trained itself on this empathetic language that sometimes humans within this very busy and overwhelming world forget.
That's right.
And it would be encouraging you and then, yes, what a great point. Oh, thank you for noticing that. It would be so empathetic, like this cheerleader. And then you go to work and your coworkers barely say good morning because they're just, upset about
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's reality.
Yeah.
That's happening now.
Yeah.
And we've got to change that. We have to move the dial. We've got to make people aware of where we really are now.
Yeah.
A question that I want to pose is, do we really see what's going on in our organizations?
And you need empathy for that.
Do we just come to work? Do we leave? Do we not care?
Yeah.
And do we not feel what's going on in the organization?
I cannot agree more. And then the question becomes, it's not if AI is going to replace humans. It's about, will humans remember to remain human?
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. And what is it to be human?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because being human now is a little different than what it was 20 years ago.
Totally.
So it's complex. There's no one easy answer to that, but I think it's conscious effort that will get you there, and it'll pay off so much in your organizations when you do that.
So investing in your people, and utilizing AI in the way that it's going to benefit you as an organization, but not forgetting to invest in your people, because long term, you need your people to keep running, to keep leading, to keep implementing and helping company to thrive. Oh, that's beautiful. So your third tip was, when we started talking about the HR professionals and the world of the changing workplaces, the first one was taking care of the mental health, both HR employees, owners, leaders, relevant to everybody. Second, we just talked about how it is changing today and people want to work less. But just to finish it up, when we say people want to work less, I don't necessarily think that people become lazy.
No,
it's not about laziness. No. There are so many people who actually are so driven, eager to work. And laziness, yes, it's there, but it's a completely different topic, right?
Right?
We can talk about it in a different conversation. Yes, there is some factors that maybe make a certain new generation of employees to look a little bit more lazy, but is it lazy or just lack of the skills that are needed for the workplace?
Yeah.
But a lot of driven people, it's not necessarily that they want to work less, they want to work differently.
That's right.
It's the differentiation of the things. It's the autonomy that you get, right? And then the third thing that you mentioned was everything related to data and technology and analytics. Could you speak a little bit more to that as well?
Yeah, it's those are buzzwords that are used. And I don't think we've quite figured out how to utilize that in the workplace. And so I have observed when I've been in various organizations that people are gathering data on 5 common metrics. They aren't really measuring what they should be measuring for whatever the purpose of the activity is. And so we need to get comfortable with what it is we're measuring.
Yeah.
Secondly, how do you measure that? And a 22 question survey is not the way to
measure.
To measure. Showing my bias there. And third is, with those numbers that you're gathering, there needs to be a story behind. What are these numbers saying? What can we learn from it? And how can we improve? Because our bottom line is that we've got to be efficient and we've got to be productive. But just to say your gut feels that is not satisfactory, and it's not a sound decision. So that's what I'm thinking of when I talk about measurement, when I talk about people analytics, is that story. And a number of people do not know how to wrap a story around the numbers so that they can pitch for maybe a new initiative, to tweak an initiative, maybe stop doing an initiative that they want to move into something else. But that story is so important.
So thinking of the most important things that companies need to measure, what would be your, and I know it's going to be different from one company to another, but what would you say your top 5? Something that any organization has to measure and it's going to benefit them.
One is, I would say, the alignment. If our company is in retail and we need to deliver service, we need to look at every touch point. Are we delivering service to our clients? Whether it be when they walk in the door, when they are researching a product, when they purchase the product, when the product doesn't work, now they want to come back and get a similar product, whatever it is. But just to make sure that every aspect of your organization is aligned with what that purpose is. So that's number one. Number two, I know we need to be more attuned to the people in the organization. If you are really convinced that you have a diverse workforce, how are you proving that? And diverse doesn't mean that we have hired so many people from Canada and so many people from the States, so many people from any other country in the world. Diverse is much more than that. And so how are we measuring that? Are we bringing the right people into the organization to be able to move the company forward? Not just hiring people like us. In my many years of recruiting, I kept saying, stop hiring the copy of you. You want to bring people in that complement. And then your team can be more powerful and better. And then I think we need to ensure that we are engaging our people. And I think that goes from the president all the way to the lowest level, the entry level person in the organization. And how we are ensuring that, first of all, they've been trained properly, that they're clear about what they're supposed to be doing. It's a safe environment that they can actually ask questions. They can make a mistake, and that they can learn from that mistake. And also to be pushing our organization. Love to see when people are always asking questions of the president about, have you thought about this? What about this? Why don't we do this? So that's the engagement piece that I think is so important to find.
And I have to tell you that speaking of how you measure all of those things, especially when it comes to engagement, silence actually is a huge measurement as well.
You got
because
it. You got it.
when you're trying to measure engagement and there is silence on the other end, it tells you a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fourth, I think it's important for us always to measure our brand internally as well as externally. And some of the results of those are not always easy to hear.
Yeah.
But I think it's critical for us to measure our brand. And then last, it's important, I think, to measure innovation and where we are going, where we could go. Because in order for us for organizations to survive, I think you've got to have innovation of some kind. Those would be the 5 metrics that I think are fundamental for any organization, profit or not for profit.
Profit, non-for-profit, big or small, startup, non-startup. And at the end of the day, it's all about the people that you have, how you manage your people, how you build your culture, how you hire people, what kind of people you hire. And, to wrap it all up, I think that the 3 components that you mentioned at the very beginning when we talked about the mental health, the importance of the mental health of all your employees, your HR people, the burnout that people experience, how to avoid it, the way people change their view on work, that they want to work maybe not less but differently, is going to affect how we build the companies.
The structure.
Yes. And at the end of the day is, okay, how do we actually measure that what we do is relevant, that what we do is actionable? And then what do we do with those measurements, right? How we tell the story and how we let the story guide our future actions for growth, for thriving and helping our people to succeed.
Yeah, exactly. So enjoyed our conversation and look forward to another one.
There is so much more to talk about, Landis. Thank you as always. It's been such a pleasure.
Yes.